My name is Sarah Harrison. I'm with Grace Sigma, and today I wanted to create for you a short video on how to use Minitab to create an attribute agreement analysis worksheet. All right, so I love Minitab for process engineering. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of best in class in terms of statistical software packages. It makes creating your attribute agreement analysis very easy. You basically just go to Stat, Quality Tools, and create Attribute Agreement Analysis Worksheet. When would you want to create one of these? Basically, if you have a non-numeric item that needs analyzed, it's not a measurement, it's an attribute. What happens is it pops up this dialog box for you, and you will then fill it out based on how you wish to construct your test. In our example today, we're going to pretend that we have a series of reviewers who are reviewing applications for a given credential. All right, so what I have 10 reviewers. Now, a reviewer in this case is your appraiser. So I'm going to make this 10, and you can see it has now created 10 spaces for me to fill out. Now I'm going to say what I like to do here is I like to call the reviewers by their actual names. And that is because it makes my life easier when I go through the analysis. You don't have to do it if you want to keep names private, but then what you would want to do is create some kind of key, such that number 2 is actually John. Number 3 is actually Bill, or something like that. So I'm going to go through, put a bunch of names in here. These are all of the people that are reviewing these applications. And what I want to make sure is, are they reviewing them all alike? Such that when someone submits an application, it shouldn't matter whether they get Sarah or John, they would get the same result. We'll call this one 9, and we'll call this one first name. We ran out of names. The next thing to think about is, do I know basically what the answers should be? You can run this without knowing the answers, in which case you leave this standard unknown. I do, however, for our example, know what the standard is. Is it in text or is it numeric? I'm going to say it's in text. I could have gone either way with this, and that's because you get, depending on how you're evaluated, a particular level of credential. All right, the other thing we see here is the number of samples. That's going to depend a lot on what you have the ability to do with your time and budget constraints in your project. I only have the ability to look at 10, and that's because each one takes a really long time to review. Now, similar to the appraisers, I can go through, and I highly recommend you do, go through and give it some kind of defining characteristic that you can refer to. So we'll call this sample 1, this will be 2, and so on. These could be application numbers, they could be applicant names, they could be whatever is identifiable by you and also by your appraisers, because this is what is going to pop up on their worksheet, and they're going to say, oh, I need to look at application 8888 first, and 9999 after that. But so I've given these all different names. We'll imagine those are the actual application numbers that they're going to be pulling up in the order that the worksheet tells them. And as I mentioned, they're going to assign a level to each of these. And I said this was a text level. So I can write in here save myself time. I'll just put L6, L2, L1, L3, L4, L5, L2, L2, L3, L0. All right, so between nothing and 6 is what they can be assigned. The last thing you want to look at here in this dialog box is the number of replicates. And again, that's going to be determined by your time, your budget, but also by the nature of the thing that's being evaluated. So for example, if it's something that your reviewer or appraiser is going to easily remember, it's going to be very hard to do a replicate. What the replicate is after I go through my 10 in one particular order, I'm going to have to do it again after a period of time in a different randomized order. And if I remember what I did before, that's really going to kind of ruin the results. So what that gives you, if you can do it, is it will say, how consistent is Sarah when she gets something? Is she going to always review it the same? Or is she going to think about it differently each time? So like I said, replicates are optional. They are great to do if you can do it. But if you cannot, you can put that down to 1 and you'll just go through everyone once. It will still tell you the level of agreement that you have between different appraisers. It just won't tell you a particular appraiser's agreement with themselves. I'm going to set it to 3 here. Under options, that just gives you some randomization options. I tend to just stick with the default, which is randomized runs within appraisers. I don't know why you would not randomize. That's not the typically best practice. But doing it within appraisers is frequently easy than to split out their given runs and let them accomplish their set of appraisals. So I'm just going to leave that how it is. Okay. Okay. And then down here, you'll see my worksheet. So 10 appraisers, 10 samples, 3 replicates, makes for a total of 300 runs. Okay. And basically, you can see here, the run order is the order you will actually go in. So it's an order. The samples then are randomized, starting with 3, 9, 5, 7, 8, 2, 6, 1, 10, and 4. And that's randomized differently for each one. So what you would want to do is then make a copy in general of the worksheets. Unless there's a need, I mean, you can be there with them as they go through each run, but what often happens, that's not practical. So you would create an individual sheet for a given appraisal. If you're doing something where you don't have digital access, say on a shop floor or something, you might want to copy this and print it out on a piece of paper. If you do have digital access, you might want to copy this and put it in a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet or something like that for them to fill out. It should go without saying that you don't want to copy the standards column because that tells them the correct answers. So you will just give them the order they should go in, which samples they're choosing, in this case, which application numbers they're pulling in what order, and then they'll write down what level they assign. Once you get those back, copy the answers in and move on to the next person. All right, that's basically all there is to creating an attribute agreement analysis worksheet. Again, that's stat, quality tools, create your worksheet. In the next video, we'll go over how to analyze the attribute agreement analysis worksheet. And if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Or if you have some suggestions of things in Minitab or other process engineering tips you'd like to see, please feel free to suggest in the comments below. Thank you very much.